I just wanted to get good grades and to do well. But it also made me realize that I have a lot of career goals.
You're there to get a full college experience, not only participate in your sport, but participate in things outside of that, and it's all about growing as a person.
My coaches have helped me with figuring out who I really am. Their lives are dedicated for us to succeed.
For the love of the game. That's what it's all about, they say. But for those of us who are Division III student athletes, it's more than that, a lot more.
Sure, the game is important, but as we work so hard to build both mind and body, it's more about team and the schools and communities we represent.
And for the many of us blessed with the strength to compete in sport at the college level, we understand that with what we were given comes a special obligation.
An obligation not merely to work towards a personal best in the classroom or in the sport we love, but rather an obligation to help those who have their own special needs and whose love for the game is no less intense.
That is why NCAA Division III teamed up with Special Olympics. For Special Olympics athletes, victory belongs not only to those who first cross the line, but to all of those who compete and endure.
They are challenged in ways we cannot imagine. They are survivors who test themselves harder and with greater joy than we will ever know.
Since August of 2011, we and others from Division III campus communities have volunteered more than 250,000 hours, time away from the classroom and practice field, reaching across the country to coach and mentor Special Olympics athletes.
And to learn, as we all do, that in giving we receive so much more in return.
Sport ennobles us, and in giving the gift of sport to those for whom it seemed an impossible dream, we are working to make this a better world.
Help us keep that dream alive.
Be part of it.
Get involved.
You can make a difference.
I believe sportsmanship is a mutual admiration and respect for your fellow competitors. We all go through a lot to reach the point where we compete against one another. It's important to realize that. So once we're finally on the field or on the court or on the starting block, we look at each other as fellow human beings and not just competitors. Being able to recognize the hard work that other athletes are putting in creates a more positive and inclusive environment.
It's the second round of the 2023 NCAA Division III Men's Basketball Championship Tournament from King Arena on the campus of Wheaton College in Wheaton, Illinois. It is Wheaton and St. Norbert in the second round. Wheaton taking care of Illinois College yesterday. St. Norbert knocking off Carleton 81-77 in a game where St. Norbert really kind of took Carleton's game and beat them at their own contest. I expect that in this one we're going to see a much different kind of contest, a very physical game. I'm Tim Caldwell. Nate Frank is alongside. Nate, you look at this contest, what are the quick kind of analysis that you see coming out of it?
Yeah, I think it's an interesting matchup. You've got a couple teams that have some pretty strong similarities, both defensive first kind of ball clubs. Wheaton's giving up 65 points per game. St. Norbert giving up 63. Both teams shooting mid-30s from three-point. They'd like to get it inside, either posting up in the case of St. Norbert or attacking out of their offense. So I think the team that can establish their defense first on one hand And on the other hand, the team that doesn't let an aggressive physical defense from their opponent take them out of their offense is going to be in good shape. But this should be a good one, Tim.
So there is history between these teams. In fact, history right here at King Arena in the NCAA tournament back in 2013. Wheaton with a 59-58 win over St. Norbert. And I think, Nate, we're heading for a game that's probably going to look pretty similar to that here tonight.
No question. Almost all the names and faces have changed, but one thing that hasn't changed are the two coaches, Gary Gresk in his 16th season and Mike Schauer, who's been at the Wheaton helm now since 2009. We're both manning the sidelines for both of these teams, so they know each other. This is a coaching staff on both sides that knows what it takes to be successful. Both teams got a little bit of the nerves and a little bit of the rust out last night. I think they're going to come out throwing some pretty big blows early on.
There is Gary Gresh in his 16th season at St. Norbert. St. Norbert has won 13 in a row. They're in their 10th NCAA Division III appearance. Victorious 81-77 over Carleton yesterday in a mild upset. Carleton ranked number 21 in the D3Hoops.com top 25. And really, there wasn't a lot of upsets yesterday in the tournament, and there haven't been so far today either. We'll see what happens here with this one as Wheaton prepares to face St. Norbert in the second round of the NCAA Division III Men's Basketball Championship Tournament. The winner will move on to next weekend, the round of 16, at a site TBD based off of the winners everywhere else around the country. We're going to have this matchup for you in just a moment. First, though, let's turn it over to the table for our pregame presentations.
In Wheaton, Illinois, tonight's second round game features the St. Norbert College Green Knights versus the Wheaton College Thunder. As we honor our great nation and the men and women serving our country at home and abroad, we ask that you please rise, if able, and remove your hats. And now the playing of our national anthem. And now let's meet the starting lineups. At guard for St. Norbert, a 6'4" sophomore from Des Plaines, number 11, Aiden Harrington. At guard for Wheaton College, a 6'3" senior from Bowie, Maryland, that's number 3, Eddie Scott. At forward for St. Norbert, a 6'6" junior from Appleton, number 14, Evan Glazer. At guard for Wheaton College, a 6'5" junior from Littleton, Colorado, that's number 10, Nate Sock. At guard for St. Norbert, a 6'6" senior from Pewaukee, number 15, Michael Payans. At guard for Wheaton College, a 5'11" grad student from Thunder Ridge, number 13, Tyson Crookshank. At guard for St. Norbert, a 6'1" junior from Kohler, that's number 25, Carter Gebler. At forward for Wheaton College, a 6'7" grad student from San Diego, number 23, T.J. Askew. At forward for St. Norbert, a 6'5" sophomore from Green Bay, number 41, Garrett Gresh. At guard for Wheaton College, a 6'4" junior from Columbus, number 24, Nick Chiavello. And introducing the head coaches for St. Norbert College, Gary Gresh, and for Wheaton College, Mike Schauer. The officials for tonight's game are Andrew
Wheaton
Murray,
and
Sean
St.
Manuel.
Norbert ready to meet in the second round of the 2023 NCAA Division III Men's Basketball Championship Tournament. Wheaton yesterday was out-rebounded by 9 against Illinois College, still managed to win that ball game. St. Norbert is a team that's very good on the glass. How important are the rebounds today?
Well, the rebounds are only as important as your lack of shooting percentage, but I do think you've picked up on a real key component. Wheaton, for all their strengths, not particularly good on the glass. They have a -1 rebounding margin against their opponents this year. On the flip side, you've got a St. Norbert team that averages 6 more boards a game. So it's going to be really important. It gets down to quality of shot for Wheaton on their end, because there probably won't be a lot of second chances going on. And on the St. Norbert end, it goes to getting a really good body and rebounding as a team, because if you rely on your big people, St. Norbert's going to get the same kind of second chances that we saw Illinois College get against the Thunder last night.
Wheaton College had a week to prepare for life without Eli Considine. The lineup the same today as it was yesterday, and Nate Sock was one of the ones who really stepped up, and he'll be in control to start the contest. Wheaton in the home whites, moving left to right.
Let's look early to see how much Wheaton commits to cutting and being aggressive in this motion offense. If they can get into a good flow, that's going to bode well for them down throughout the rest of this game.
Askew hands it off to Scott. Right side of the lane, has it tapped away by Harrington. Scott recovers. 10 on the shot. Chiavello all the way to the bucket, unescorted for the easy deuce.
And that's what Coach John Panner and I used to joke about, is the fake turnover move, where you drive in, you almost turn it over, the defense ends up out of position, and the Red Sea was completely parted for Chiavello to drive through. Michael
Payant, top of the key. Works it into the corner for Evan Glazer, who's had a great postseason so far. From the elbow, 15-footer, falls down.
That touched about 98% of the rim before it went in. If they get those rolls, it's going to be a long night for the Thunder.
One of the things Gary Gresh said about that game yesterday against Carleton was that the way his team started allowed them to build confidence throughout the course of that game.
Yeah, you don't want to be playing from behind. I mean, we saw Illinois College have to do that almost all of last night, and that's the kind of look you're looking for out of the offense and out of the flow as Cruikshank hits on the great kick out. But no, the start is so important. If you end up having to play catch up the whole game, it sucks energy, it sucks confidence, and so the fact that the Thunder have converted their first 2 bodes very well for this team.
Cruikshank all over Harrington defensively. Scott dives in. Cruikshank scoops up the loose ball. One-on-one to the hole, driving to the rack, up and in.
And he's making a living on the acrobatic finishes. He went over the much taller 6'6" Michael Payant, kissed it off the glass for the finish. Great hustle by Eddie Scott, though, to trigger that play.
Fred Young, most outstanding player in the CCIW. Tyson Cruikshank, 5 points on each of the last 2 trips. Payant's open for 3, and he'll respond for St. Norbert.
Really good job of the flare screen. Very tough to defend. Eddie Scott was just a little bit hung up on it, and he paid the price.
Askew down Broadway. Draws the foul.
And right now you're seeing exactly what Coach Mike Schauer would have wanted to see out of his team to get started. Very little time, sort of passively moving the ball around the perimeter. Most of what they're getting coming off screens, either with the cut, the kick out, or that time you saw Askew find a seam and penetrate aggressively.
First team All-CCIW member visits the free throw line. He had 14 points on 6 of 7 shooting last night as he misses the first. Both of these teams struggled in crunch time at the line yesterday.
No, it was interesting. Both teams had a chance to put it on ice. Wheaton struggled a little bit over the last few games, finding pay dirt from the foul line. But I'll tell you what about Askew. His energy last night, I think, was a big key, especially early on. Let's see if he replicates that here tonight.
8-5, Wheaton in front. 2 minutes and change into the opening half of play. Garrett Gresh high to the right. Waits with Sock on him defensively. Payant cuts. He's denied on the baseline. Payant working on Scott on a mismatch, which is what I think you were going to say, and he draws the foul.
I'm talking right over you, Tim. My apology. You were way ahead of me. But they like that Payant post-up, and they're going to be able to get him against Cruikshank or against Scott. That's going to be something they're going to look to go to all night long, and that's a big part of their game. You don't see, frankly, a lot of teams that want to dump it in, and so Wheaton has not had to play a whole lot of consistent post defense this year. They're going to have to do it tonight.
We're on the same wavelength. We'll go with that. Michael Payant hits the first free throw. He's a 75% shooter on the year. Had 4 points yesterday, but 9 rebounds and 3 assists. along with drawing 5 fouls. First team All Northern Athletics Collegiate Conference. Missed this one to the left. Deficit at 2.
It's interesting. We talked about some of the similarities between these two teams. Another is their balance. Obviously, Cruikshank, as the CCIW's most outstanding player, is a real force to reckon with. But then Wheaton can get a dozen 15 points with 5 or 6 other guys. St. Norbert can do the same. So great balance in scoring for both these teams all season long.
Chiavello with the near miss. Gresh almost tapped it into the bucket on the rebound attempt. Pretty close to goaltending as well. St. Norbert looking to tie or take the lead here. The cutter to the hole is Glazer. Gresh found him for the easy 2.
Now Glazer's been aggressive early on. I actually thought Askew had that covered pretty well, but Gresh put that ball right on the money, and it was finished effectively by Glazer.
18 assists for St. Norbert in their win. For Carleton, matched season high. Scott to the hole. Couldn't finish. The help defense from Glazer stepping in to force the miss.
You know what? Tough miss. Another good shot by Wheaton. So far they've taken nothing that you question is anything but a really good look. Same for the St. Norbert team, other than that first shot that Gebler put up.
Payant in and out. That touched 98% of the rim and then fell out.
It's good. Those things need to even out over the course of the game, and so far they're 1 for 2 on the big bouncers.
Sock with the 3-pointer, and it's good.
Like that. He caught it in rhythm, turned, saw that he had some space, and unleashed it with confidence.
Nate Sock made his first collegiate start yesterday, played 31 minutes. And he hits an early 3 here as Wheaton opens an 11-8 advantage.
I think that game last night was big for Sock, just to get his legs under him, not only as a starter, but in tournament play. I think he'll be a lot more calm, a lot more poised tonight. Had a good game last night. I think he'll step it up again from there tonight.
Boy, I tell you what, both teams are getting some really good looks, though. Payant called for the reach. We're going to have a timeout on the floor with 15:32 to play in the first half. Wheaton on top, 11-8. You're locked into the 2023 NCAA Division III Men's Basketball Championship Tournament.
I believe sportsmanship is a mutual admiration and respect for your fellow competitors. We all go through a lot to reach the point where we compete against one another. It's important to realize that. So once we're finally on the field or on the court or on the starting block, we look at each other as fellow human beings and not just competitors. Being able to recognize the hard work that other athletes are putting in creates a more positive and inclusive environment.
Football has taught me a lot throughout my life. It's definitely had a huge imprint on who I am as a person. Competing at a Division III level created that opportunity for me to go to college. Not only was I the first one in my family to graduate college, but I was really the first one to even go. Being the first one, I'm breaking that cycle, and now that I've graduated, I'm not sure what's the next step, but I know I have a lot of doors open. And a lot of those are open because I played football and ran track here at Otterbein.
With Nate Frank, I'm Tim Calderwood. Moments ago, Michael Payant picking up his second foul. The only senior on this St. Norbert team. He was a part of St. Norbert's last NCAA tournament squad, playing 28 games in the 2019-2020 campaign. That is something to keep your eye on big as he takes a seat. And in his stead, Brant Wilson occupying some space right now for St. Norbert.
No, that's something they could ill afford. A senior who's been a strong contributor offensively and on the glass is probably going to sit for most of the balance of this remaining 15 minutes. And Chiavello, who had foul trouble last night, steps up. Would be great to see him get going after a quiet, foul-ridden night last night.
Tyson Cruikshank with the assist. He had 7 of those yesterday, surpassing the 400 mark for his career. Jamison Nikolai on the take. Stood up defensively against Williams. The turnaround, tapped out. Chiavello reels it in. By the way, that assist from Cruikshank now ties him with Tyler Peters for 5th on the all-time list.
Yeah, he's continuing to mount up stats, against good company. So that's just one more feather in the cap from him. Speaking of Tyler Peters, he was a guy who played in the last St. Norbert Wheaton College showdown. Ty had 5 points and 4 assists in that game, so he was well on his way to these big assist numbers that Tyson is now caught up to.
Third foul on St. Norbert. Cruikshank knocks down another. Wheaton's hot from beyond the arc.
He's
4 of 4 to start the game.
He's feeling it, and the great thing is their shots continue to come out of flow. We're 5.5 minutes in. Wheaton has yet to take a shot that could be anywhere close to considered a bad one. And on the defensive end, they continue to do a good job of giving St. Norbert only one look and then corralling the defensive rebound.
Wilson gives it to the man down Broadway. That's Gebler, unable to bank it home. Offensive rebound, though, for Wilson. He took it away from Askew and then turns it over.
And I knew as soon as I commented on the quality of Wheaton's controlling of their defensive glass, they were likely to give up the next board to the offense. But really good job. Love the way Askew's crashing there. That was just a little bit of an unlucky situation where he came down, ball landed in Brant Wilson's hands, and he peeled it out of there, but Wheaton gets it back on the turnover.
Jamison Nikolai last to touch it, otherwise it may have been St. Norbert ball. Wheaton by 9, 13:55 to play first half. Williams moving right, crossing over back to his left, runs into a crowd.
You're looking at the St. Norbert defense. I think one of the things that Coach Gresh told them is we've got to get better help off the dribble. The last couple of penetrations, we've seen a lot of green jerseys collapsing on the ball handle like they did there on Williams.
Cruikshank unable to hit the 17-footer. Jamison Nikolai patient. Garrett Gresh will leave it for Harrington all alone underneath, and he's denied. Connor Braun was in there along with Tyson Cruikshank. Cruikshank nearly had his pocket picked. Braun, who hit a couple of big threes yesterday, tosses it into the St. Norbert bench, but it's last touched by the Green Knights off of Gebler, and Wheaton will retain with 20 on the shot.
Yeah, really good job by Braun to come over and change that shot. Then as he brought it up court, I don't think anybody realized Aiden Harrington was a little slow getting up on the St. Norbert offensive end as he crept back into the action, almost stole the ball from Braun. Instead knocked it out of bounds. I do think Harrington took a little bit of a finger or something to the eye, and his contact came out. It's always fairly miraculous when you're able to find those things in the middle of the heat of battle, but it must have stuck to his eyelash or to his cheek. They'll give him some time to get that lubed up again and back in the eye.
Gives us a chance to look at the numbers. St. Norbert is just 3 of 8 to start this game. Wheaton 6 of 9, including 4 of 4 from three-point range.
Yeah, exactly how you want to start this game out. And again, we saw it last night. These games are games of runs. Wheaton and Illinois College early on exchanged punches. Then Wheaton spent the middle 10 minutes of this first half really stretching it out, only to let Illinois College claw back in. So important to continue to be aggressive and be smart on the offensive end. Let's see how this possession is now that Harrington's got his contact back in.
It was almost 4 on 5 as Askew came running in at the last minute from the Wheaton bench. Shot clock at 5. Schneider's in the corner for 3, draws iron. Strong side rebound, swatted out of there by Braun. It leaves Askew all alone from the lane of 3 for the 5th three-pointer of the half.
Great work by Connor Braun. He continues to be active. Not only is he a bigger body taking up space in there, as he does a good job of bumping off Nikolai cutting through the paint, but he's getting a little piece of just about everything, whether it's on the boards or St. Norbert tries to get to the basket.
Carlton made 14 three-pointers against St. Norbert yesterday. That was the second most that the Green Knights allowed in a game. As Gebler's shot is off to the right, but Wilson has an offensive rebound, and Harrington's all alone in and out. Nikolai is going to give St. Norbert a third try. Here's Harrington again, and this time he follows through with perfection.
Boy, you just can't do that. They have 3 looks, 2 offensive rebounds, and Wheaton, which has done such a good job through the first 5-6 minutes now, is fallen a little bit asleep on their defensive end from a rebounding perspective.
It's Askew again, open from the land of 3, this time off the window. Gebler sprints ahead 1 on 3. He works it into the corner for Harrington, who beats Askew to the rack and scores.
Yeah, and a little bit of a run there. Askew had just as open a look from almost exactly the same spot where seconds before he buried one. Sometimes going back to the well from that same spot and just as open is a little unnerving. Great look there by Cruikshank.
It was the first miss from beyond the arc for Wheaton in the game. St. Norbert has scored the last 5 to pull within 20-13. We've got a foul on the floor. That'll be the 4th against St. Norbert, and a timeout on the floor as well. Aiden Harrington commits his first. 11:37 to play in the half. 20-13, Wheaton in front. This is the 2023 NCAA Division III Men's Basketball Championship Tournament.
Responsibility is being accountable for your words and actions, first and foremost. It also is an obligation to be a positive influence in the communities around you. Being in a D3 program, you're going to have lots of different opportunities. You're not just an athlete, you're also involved in student life. Your academics are extremely important. We give a lot of our student athletes responsibilities right from the start by giving them leadership opportunities, by having them engage in the community, be a positive influence. That's being a responsible person.
Proportion to me is the lived experience of our Division III student athletes. They balance life from an academic perspective and the rigors of competing at a high level, bonding with teammates and building lifelong friendships. But they also are involved in their communities. They work jobs and internships and volunteer. They've learned to be resilient. Diverse experiences are setting them up for the future.
Finals in the books around the country in the second round. Johns Hopkins moving on with a win over Hamilton. Oswego State ending the season for John Carroll, who had an early win here at King Arena, 66-61. Fifth-ranked Keene State over Tufts, 77-72 as well. 11:37 to go here. Cruikshank has the ball. He's double-teamed in the corner. Around the arc it goes. Some patience here for Wheaton offensively. Nate Sock has it. Looks to his left. Eddie Scott will trigger. That's long. Backing up on it, Nikolai nearly falls out of bounds, but retains for St. Norbert. Was recorded the last 4 rebounds.
And Wheaton, after starting out white hot from downtown, has missed their last 2. I also believe their last 4 or 5 trips.
By the way, Payant's back in the game with 2 fouls. Glazer draws the foul. Nate Sock commits his first.
Interesting to see how aggressive or unaggressive, I should say, Payant is. He can ill afford to pick up that 3rd foul. That would be crippling to him going the rest of the way. Same time as the score was starting to get a little bit away, Coach Gresh had to say, there's no point in saving him if we're going to be down 15 at the intermission. So he'll have to play with some caution. They'll probably try to get 3-4 minutes out of him, take him off, and sort of spot him through the rest of the half to try to keep this thing close with their best lineup on the floor.
6 in a row for St. Norbert, but they're struggling at the line early on at the 11-minute mark, down by 6, 20-14. Gresh on Sock, who looks to his left.
Wheaton needs to get something going to the basket. I was about to say before the last foul on Wheaton that most of what they've had the last few trips has been from 3. As Askew there took a little hop step. They've got to get back in that rhythm. What they were doing the first 5 minutes was getting to the hole, and the rest of the offense was coming off of that penetration.
Our officials are out of Ohio. We always get neutral officials in the tournament. We had California and Wisconsin for both games yesterday. Payant scored and won. Look at that aggressive move with 2 fouls taken to the basket.
Yeah, Chamello's looking like, what did I do? But the reality of it is a little bit of a nudge as he's going up. I don't know, you could call it, you couldn't call it. In general, I think these officials have done a pretty good job in what's been a pretty rough and tumble defensive game so far, and the fouls are 4-3. St. Norbert has the 4, Wheaton has the 3. The bottom line is I think it's been a well-officiated game and a pretty physical game so far.
Payant finishes off the 3-point play. Chiavello fouled out yesterday in just 17 minutes of action. It was 20-8. St. Norbert has scored the last 9 to claw within 3 as we near the midpoint of the first half.
Yeah, like we said, game of runs. Wheaton got, I think, a little less crisp on the offensive end. Got very uncrisp as Cruikshank goes in. Got very uncrisp on their defensive glass and allowed Norbert to get this thing right back to a tight 3-point margin.
It was good defense on the drive and good job by Cruikshank not to force it either. Askew will trigger, in and out.
Yeah, and this is where Wheaton struggled this year. When they start settling for 3s, and now I think 5 or 6 of their last shots have all been from 3, they have issues. And St. Norbert, in the meantime, continues to work it in either off the penetration or the post-up, getting good looks from point-blank range.
11 in a row for St. Norbert. They're down by 1. Askew by himself, high to the left. Takes to the hole, and he's called for an offensive foul.
Yeah, we'll see. Obviously, in the media timeout world, you're very sparing with the timeouts that you're going to use. You do have one you need to use in the first half. If I was Coach Schauer, I'd think about taking one right now. You got to settle this team down. Maybe run a set to get something backdoor. Maybe run a set to get some post-up action. That's one of the things they miss about Considine being out. He was good for a half dozen good looks down off the post-up. Not a lot of the rest of this team is all that comfortable back to the basket, and that is an element that they could use here tonight.
St. Norbert looking for the lead. The hook shot goes. Evan Glazer, double figures in each of his last 10 games, had 17 yesterday. St. Norbert by a point.
As Williams looks to post up. Patience and poise here.
Off to the right, Gresh on the glass. Wheaton's got to do a better job rebounding.
Yeah, right now that's a noticeable gap between these two teams. That and the penetration and good look St. Norbert continues to get time and time again.
Gebler all the way to hole. 15 unanswered from St. Norbert.
And the quiet crowd behind the St. Norbert bench has come to life. A little bit smaller crowd here tonight with the Wheaton students now all fully gone on break.
Askew is all alone in the corner and he makes the most of it.
That's what they need. Andrew Williams has made a point of getting to the tin the last two times. One off the post-up, that time off the penetration as it was dribbled. Askew was left wide open as the play was doubled, and he converted the wide open three. Those are the good looks they need more of.
Brought an end to a 15-0 run for St. Norbert's, and the crowd in disbelief on this foul.
Boy, yeah, not a lot there. I mean, if you're going to call anything, you call that armbar before the shot. But once he went up, Andrew Williams pretty much tucked his hands in his pockets and was going to let it happen the way it was going to happen.
Jamison Nikolai to the line at 15 points off the bench yesterday, and his first toss is short. So here's a little interesting note for you. Wheaton committed 18 fouls yesterday. It was the most they had in a single game since January 21st. It led to 22 free throws for Illinois College. Now, Illinois College was only 15 of 22 at the line, but it's a lot of attempts early on. St. Norbert's been to the line 6 times, and we're going the other way on the rebound. Mike Schauer is fired up.
Yeah, that was big. We needed those misses, needed that rebound. We got a tie game here. You know, it was interesting because one of the common threads between Wheaton's opponents these last 2 nights, both Illinois College and St. Norbert have a strong desire to shoot from inside the arc. And when you do that, if you're not playing good defense, you're going to send a team to the line an awful lot. Wheaton did it last night, and they've sent St. Norbert to the line a decent number of times tonight.
Off the screen, good look for Crookshank, but back iron. Harrington surrounded. Gresh now working on Sock with some light help. Payant threw it to the cutting Gresh, who cut away. Nate Sock says, look what I found.
Yeah, but that's about as easy a steal as you're going to have. That was delivered right in his Christmas stocking.
Askew surveying, puts it in the hands of Crookshank to the rack. A late whistle coming, and Crookshank is down. With 7:44 to go in the first half. Fouls on Evan Glazer.
Yeah, it looks like he may have tweaked something on his left leg there. As he was turning the corner, it kind of gave way. The training staff's coming out to take a look. Correction, it was on his right leg, but it kind of buckled underneath him. Hopefully that's just a tweak of an ankle and nothing more. If you do that, you can usually the pain is intense, but you can get up, walk around on it a little bit.
He's trying really hard to get up and walk off.
Yeah, but he's a little gimped, but that's definitely, at least from the looks of it now, not something that's going to keep him out more than the obligatory one stoppage in play. So they'll sub for him, and I think we're going to get immediate timeout.
7:44 to play first half. We're tied up at 23 apiece. This is the second round of the 2023 NCAA Division III Men's Basketball Championship Tournament.
Responsibility is being accountable for your words and actions, first and foremost. It also is an obligation to be a positive influence in the communities around you. Being in a D3 program, you're going to have lots of different opportunities. You're not just an athlete, you're also involved in student life. Your academics are extremely important. We give a lot of our student athletes responsibilities right from the start by giving them leadership opportunities, by having them engage in the community, be a positive influence. That's being a responsible person.
Passion's love.
Passion is love for what you do. Because I think when you face challenges, it comes down to how much you want it and how much you love it. Passion is what keeps you going forward. Seeing so many people that were like-minded and so hardworking in their sport and academics, being surrounded by like-minded people makes you want to be more passionate. I think it pushes you to a different level that maybe you didn't think you had, and you can do the best of both worlds and love all of it.
Wheaton had their second best shooting performance of the season last night, 56%, eclipsed only by a 70% showing almost against Lake Forest. They started hot tonight but have cooled off, and it has allowed St. Norbert to work their way back into this game. We're even at 23 out of the timeout. Wheaton with the basketball. I'm Tim Calder, Nate Frank alongside as well. Chiavello by himself. Tries to beat Harrington, kicks it out to Askew. He's open for three and hits.
Boy, that's good stuff. I really like the way Wheaton came out of that timeout. They first looked to post up Chiavello. He took a couple of bounces, saw that it was closed off, reset it, kicked it out, got it back on the wing. I think we're going to get another foul on St. Norbert. This one will send, I believe this one will send the Thunder to the line.
That would be the 7th on St. Norbert, and indeed it is an offensive foul. The 6th, so they were one ahead on the board, but it is the 2nd on Harrington, so Harrington and Payant with 2 fouls apiece. No, that is the 7th, but because it was in the offensive end.
Yep.
Askew at the elbow, bounces it away into the corner.
Interesting. Let's get another look at that one. Yeah, that's going to be Wheaton ball.
Official underneath the basket couldn't see it. He was looking for help right away.
We had the same angle that the official ultimately made the call, and I couldn't tell.
Inbound play off to the left on the jumper from Askew. He has certainly been the man targeted here early on for the offense. Payant accelerates, unable to bank it home over the top of Chiavello. Williams with his head up, takes off for the races. Had an open Chiavello in the corner, but they'll go into the offensive set. Nate Sock in front of the St. Norbert bench. To the corner, threw it away. Gebler the steal, Gebler all the way. Gebler with the layup. 26-25 our score.
Yeah, he did a nice job, Gebler did, of kind of knowing what Wheaton's like to do, which has been kind of driving off that screen and hitting the screener on the step out. So he stuck right in. Sock put it right in his hand, and Sock tried to kick it out to Askew there. So veteran play by St. Norbert, and that's a real problem. Payant cannot afford to do that, especially given the fact that we've essentially got a brand new ball game.
Not only that, but look at how far away it was from the basket. I mean, that's 25 feet away.
Yeah, I mean, listen, that's an unfortunate call. It's a call that has to be made because he fouled him, but as the guy sitting here with 2 fouls, critical to your team's success, and frankly, as the only senior in the starting lineup, you just cannot put yourself in that position.
Only senior on the roster for St. Norbert. Bonus time for Wheaton. Micah Schneider's a 73% shooter, steps to the line. 19 minutes of action last night, scored 5 points. St. Norbert 3 of 7 at the line, Wheaton 2 of 3. 6:11 to go in the half. Schneider's knocks them both down.
Let's see what St. Norbert tries to do without 2 of their top scorers in Payant and Glazer, both sitting on the bench right now with some level of foul trouble.
Nikolai wraps it around underneath to Wilson. There's an answer for you.
What a nice pass that was by Nikolai. He waited and passed it through the extended leg of the Wheaton defender.
Back to a 1-point game at 28-27. Askew starts to move. Nikolai went for the steal. By the way, Cruikshank is back on the floor. Askew from on point, off to the right with his 3. Wheaton had only 2 offensive rebounds yesterday. They have just 1 so far tonight. And St. Norbert can once again take the lead with a bucket.
Well, it's the problem. When you're running a motion offense and you've got 5 guys on the perimeter, if you're also taking perimeter shots, you're going to not have a whole around the basket. So unless you get a long rebound, you're probably not going to get many on the offensive glass.
First points for Garrett Gresh gives St. Norbert the lead, 29-28. Three-pointer off the window from Schneiders. Wilson on the glass.
And for those who've watched Wheaton kind of night in and night out this year, this is when things start to go a little bit off kilter for them. They are not finding easy opportunities out of their motion. They're settling for less than optimal shots, and they're doing it early in the shot clock. This is another one, even though it goes, that I think is a little bit ill-advised. They've got to get back into that action toward the basket rhythm that makes them successful and puts a lot more pressure on the defense.
Cruikshank knocks down the three, 31-29, Wheaton in front. Harrington backing in Cruikshank, tries the right-handed floater that drops.
Well, we saw it a decade ago here at King Arena, two teams trading punches in a very close game. It looks like this one may go down to the wire like it did 10 years ago when Wheaton getting the one-point win in 2013.
What a feed, but Cruikshank couldn't finish. Gresh starts to move, looks for Harrington, it's tapped free. Oh, that's an over and back. Yep. He started dribbling before he got to the half-court line and didn't realize it. 3:43 to play, first half. We had a timeout. Tied at 31. This is the 2023 NCAA Division III Men's Basketball Championship Tournament.
I just wanted to get good grades and to do well, but it also made me realize that I have a lot of career goals.
You're there to get a full college experience, not only participate in your sport, but participate in things outside of that, and it's all about growing as a person.
My coaches have helped me with figuring out who I really am. Their lives are dedicated for us to succeed.
Passion's love. Passion is love for what you do. Because I think when you face challenges, it comes down to how much you want it and how much you love it. Passion is what keeps you going forward. Seeing so many people that were like-minded and so hardworking in their sport and academics, being surrounded by like-minded people makes you want to be more passionate. I think it pushes you to a different level that maybe you didn't think you had. And you can do the best of both worlds and love all of it.
Over and back call taking us to the timeout. The fourth turnover by St. Norbert in the first half. They turned it over only 5 times yesterday. Both teams are doing a very good job of valuing the basketball. Wheaton with only 3 turnovers. But yet, St. Norbert has scored 7 points off of turnovers and Wheaton has tallied 5. So 12 of the points on the board have come as a result of those very few miscues. Shot clock at 20 as Wheaton inbounds. Cruikshank. Back to Askew, rotates to Sock in the corner for 3. Yes!
Good stuff there by Wheaton, making that extra pass. Askew could have, by all rights, pulled that one, but he gave the extra pass to Sock, who was wide open and converted. You got to love the under 4-minute media timeout in a 31-31 game like we were just in. Gives both coaches a chance to sit their guys down, rally them, and remind them just how important these last 4 minutes are as it pertains to who's going to take the momentum into the half and come out in the second half with the advantage.
Nate Sock has made a pair of 3-pointers, and Glazer lost the handle. 3-on-2, Chiavello to Scott, elevating and one!
You know, Chiavello for a big guy, I really enjoy.
That's the third on Harrington.
That's unbelievable. You can't commit that foul. I mean, under what circumstances does it pay to go after the guy that aggressively? And by the way, if you're going to go at him that aggressively, you better not let him make the 2. But it's interesting, Chiavello for a big guy, I think makes such great decisions on the break. He never forces it. Again, he could have been justified to go all the way to the hole, but he felt Eddie Scott coming up, saw the defender coming toward him and dumped it off to Scott for the easy layup.
36-31 as Scott couldn't finish the 3-point play. Returned to the starting lineup yesterday after 4 games in a reserve role. Sock's hand in the face of Gresh, who rotates left for Nikolai. Scott on him defensively. Nikolai takes and draws the contact.
That's a foul you don't like to see. I mean, that was going to be a real tough finish for Nikolai, moving away from the basket, and just a little bit of a nudge from Eddie Scott. Again, I think the contact was probably before the shot went up, but nonetheless put a little bit of that barrel chest into him and knocked him away from the basket.
Jamison Nikolai, a double-double in the Northern Athletics Collegiate Conference Championship, 14 points, 10 rebounds. Knocked down 3 threes yesterday in the win over Carleton. Vito Lagoya, meanwhile, has checked in for St. Norbert with both Harrington and Payant on the bench with 3 fouls. Lagoya played less than 2 minutes yesterday, but he's going to be counted upon here to provide some key minutes in the final moments of this first half.
And a local product from Lake Park High School. He probably got a good cheering section rooting him on in the minutes he's going to get.
Williams left it short.
Usually like that move by Williams, going middle, spinning back towards the baseline. Just came up a little bit empty on that attempt.
And an obstruction as Glazer was attempting to get the bounce pass.
Yeah, I think he got hooked up by behind by Askew.
Second foul on TJ Askew.
Yeah, we'll see it here. Yeah. Again, not a whole lot there, but I guess enough hand fighting that the officials felt it justified.
Second team All Northern Athletics Collegiate Conference choice Evan Glazer visits the free throw line. Averages 11 points per game on this balanced St. Norbert squad as he connects on the first. Their leading scorer is Payant at 11.6. You've got Glazer at 11, Gebler at 11, Garrett Gresh just under double digits at 9.7. And the struggles at the line continue for St. Norbert. It's carried over from last night.
It really has. It's a little bit of a hangover effect, and they'll go into this half up or down, wondering if they'd made 3 or 4 more foul shots, what the situation could be. Nonetheless, their balance is paying off with the senior on the bench. They continue to be productive. That's a vintage Andrew Williams reverse layup.
38-34, Wheaton in front. Less than 2 minutes to play first half.
Got to believe Norbert's going to continue to try to dump it in, looking for Gresh. And again, Wheaton, we mentioned it earlier on, Wheaton has not played against many teams this year that look for a steady diet of post entries. They're putting pressure on 4 or 5 Wheaton defenders who don't play a lot of post defense to have to play it. And that was the case right there where Nate Sock got stuck behind, knew he was in a little bit of trouble, and just got a little pushy. Good call by the officials.
Garrett Gresh hit 3 3-pointers yesterday. Also had 8 rebounds and 5 assists. As he connects on his first free throw, he's an 82% free throw shooter on the season.
Name one coach's son who's not an 80+% foul shooter.
I'll leave that up to you.
There can't be many of them.
38-36 the count.
He's probably in that gym when he was 10 years old shooting foul shots at the end of St. Norbert practices.
And the St. Norbert fans coming to life. Crookshank, ball above his head, rotates left for Braun. He'll start to work. Hand it off to Chiavello. Plenty of time here with the shot clock sitting at 13. Chiavello with the shot fake. Pivoting, spinning, scoring.
Good move. Really like the way Chiavello's played tonight. Hasn't been wildly aggressive on offense, but he's done a lot of the right things at the right times. I really like that move where he backs down and spins back to the middle.
St. Norbert taking a 30-second timeout with 1:03 to play first half. Wheaton in front by the score of 40-36. St. Norbert, remember, they started this game cold from the field. They're shooting almost 60% right now at 13 of 22.
No, I mean, they have gotten quality look after quality look for most of this game. I don't know if you've got it there. I don't think they've shot more than 1 or 2 shots from downtown at this point. This will be interesting to see what St. Norbert does coming out of this timeout. You got 1:03 left. You got 26 seconds on the shot clock. You know, I think there's a lot to be said for taking a deep possession here, trying to get a post touch, and taking the game clock down into the mid-40s. Get 2 for 1 if you can. St. Norbert, given where they were midway through this half, would be delighted to go in down 2, down 3. But if they play their cards right, they could be tied or up. Let's see what they come out with out of this timeout.
Answer to your question is they're 2 for 4 from three-point range so far tonight. 9 of 21 yesterday. Final minute of the half.
So got a little bit of a set here. Watch for some flare screen action potentially.
Gebler drives past the bucket at the free throw line, steps back, shot clock down to 10. Gebler with a step back, denied. He'll have the handoff with 5, hesitates, angles right, and an offensive foul.
They ran a good set. I'm not sure the set got them what it was designed to do. I think there might have been some flare screen to a backdoor lob on this that was supposed to happen. It didn't, and then once that dried up, they just weren't able to find any rhythm. Good job by Wheaton, though, not panicking, doing a good job of hedging screens there, and ultimately getting the foul. Now they'll have a chance to take the lead into the half.
Mike Schauer taking the use it or lose it timeout, the CCIW Coach of the Year. That, by the way, was the second foul on Evan Glazer. So you got 2 on Glazer, 3 on Harrington, and 3 on Payant. Only 10 fouls in the game for St. Norbert, but 8 of them from 3 of their key pieces.
Yeah, it hasn't been what I would call a foul-heavy half at all, but when 80% go against 3 of the guys, and 3 of the guys are all 3 double-figure scores for you, that's a hard luck scenario. I shouldn't say all 3 of them. Harrington's a 6.4 points per game guy. Nonetheless, a lot of offensive firepower and fairly significant foul trouble for St. Norbert.
Well, he did have double figures last night, so that counts.
There you go. What have you done for me lately?
Cruikshank is just across the timeline with that low dribble in the center of the Wheaton logo. About an 8-second difference between the shot clock and the game clock. Cruikshank moves back to his right.
Yep, he hopped.
Connor Braun with a walk.
That's unfortunate. I think they waited a little long in the shot clock to trigger that. And again, there's arguments to be made in both directions, because if you run that shot clock all the way down and you get a miss and a couple tips, you can run the game clock all the way down. But I think they felt a little bit forced after there wasn't much for Cruikshank to do coming off that screen.
St. Norbert will have the final shot. Gebler bounces into the corner. Wilson's 3 is long. Cruikshank on the rebound is going to give it a go. One-handed heave off to the right, and we are at the half.
Now, a good half and a good finish there for Wheaton. Both teams way ahead of what they would typically give up. This is an 80 to 72 point pace, but a good half there. Wheaton finished strong after giving away an early lead. I think they've got to be pretty pleased heading into the intermission.
Yeah, I was thinking we might be lucky to see either team hit 70 today. 40 to 36, the score at the half. We'll have much more coming your way in a bit from Wheaton College. This is the 2023 NCAA Division III Men's Basketball Championship Tournament.
I believe sportsmanship is it's a mutual admiration and respect for your fellow competitors. We all go through a lot to reach the point where we compete against one another. It's important to realize that. So once we're finally on the field or on the court or on the starting block, we look at each other as fellow human beings and not just competitors. Being able to recognize the hard work that other athletes are putting in creates a more positive and inclusive environment.
Humble leaders, adventurous thinkers, faithful believers. For Christ and his kingdom, Wheaton stands at the forefront of Christian liberal arts education. Here, we facilitate an unparalleled journey for our students, bringing together deep faith and intelligence to pursue their most ambitious callings. At Wheaton, Reaching God-given potential is never accomplished alone. From coaches on the field to professors in the classroom, we come together to make space for students to wrestle with timeless questions and pursue biblically informed, thoughtful wisdom as they pursue academic, artistic, and athletic excellence. We are one of the nation's colleges that change lives, because that is exactly what we do. We live, work, serve, and worship together as an educational community centered on Jesus and reflecting the beautiful diversity of His kingdom. It's collaborative, immersive, Christ-centered. Our enduring model, with twin traditions of quality academics and deep faith, along with a faculty of Christian thought leaders and a staff of dedicated believers, allows us to champion the true essence of the Christian liberal arts educational experience, continuing the legacy lived out by iconic thinkers and evangelical luminaries around the globe. Wheaton integrates and connects disciplines through Christian thought, diverse peers, and contemporary global context. Here, adventurous thinkers and faithful believers come together to create a mosaic of diverse backgrounds, beliefs, and hopes. It's a place of curiosity and conviction, a place to live out your values and pursue your ambitions. Except here, it's not only about what you can achieve. It's about who you can become. Living out our calling with heart and skill through Christ-centered leadership. At Wheaton, you don't have to settle. We call ourselves Thunder because, like thunder, the Wheaton Network is a force moving through Him and for Him to build the church and benefit society worldwide. Like rolling thunder, God's mighty voice calls us to be humble leaders, adventurous thinkers, and faithful believers for Christ and His kingdom.
Football has taught me a lot throughout my life. It's definitely had a huge imprint on who I am as a person. Competing at a Division III level created that opportunity for me to go to college. Not only was I the first one in my family to graduate college, but I was really the first one to even go. Being the first one, I'm breaking that cycle, and now that I've graduated, I'm not sure what's the next step, but I know I have a lot of doors open. And a lot of those are open because I played football and ran track here at Otterbein.
Responsibility is being accountable for your words and actions, first and foremost. It also is an obligation to be a positive influence in the communities around you. Being in a D3 program, you're going to have lots of different opportunities. You're not just an athlete, you're also involved in student life. Your academics are extremely important. We give a lot of our student athletes responsibilities right from the start by giving them leadership opportunities, by having them engage in the community, be a positive influence. That's being a responsible person.
Proportion to me is the lived experience of our Division III student athletes. They balance life from an academic perspective and the rigors of competing at a high level, bonding with teammates and building lifelong friendships. But they also are involved in their communities. They work jobs and internships and volunteer. They've learned to be resilient. Diverse experiences are setting them up for the future.
For the love of the game, that's what it's all about, they say. But for those of us who are Division III student athletes, it's more than that, a lot more.
Sure, the game is important, but as we work so hard to build both mind and body, it's more about team and the schools and communities we represent.
And for the many of us blessed with the strength to compete in sport at the college level, we understand that with what we were given, comes a special obligation.
An obligation not merely to work towards a personal best in the classroom or in the sport we love, but rather an obligation to help those who have their own special needs and whose love for the game is no less intense.
That is why NCAA Division III teamed up with Special Olympics. For Special Olympics athletes, victory belongs not only to those who first cross the line, but to all of those who compete and endure.
They are challenged in ways we cannot imagine. They are survivors who test themselves harder and with greater joy than we will ever know.
Since August of 2011, we and others from Division III campus communities have volunteered more than 250,000 hours, time away from the classroom and practice field, reaching across the country to coach and mentor Special Olympics athletes.
And to learn, as we all do, that in giving we receive so much more in return.
Sport ennobles us, and in giving the gift of sport to those for whom it seemed an impossible dream, we are working to make this a better world.
Help us keep that dream alive.
Be part of it.
Get involved.
You can make a difference.
I just wanted to get good grades and to do well, but it also made me realize that I have a lot of career goals.
You're there to get a full college experience, not only participate in your sport, but participate in things outside of that, and it's all about growing as a person.
My coaches have helped me with figuring out who I really am. Their lives are dedicated for us to succeed.
When you're in college, you kind of find out who you are. And throughout your 4 years, you develop yourself with all the different experiences, which leads into dedicating yourself to your community, to your family. So when you're a senior, you're coming out a well-rounded person.
College has given me the flexibility to pursue my passions and my interests outside of the classroom and outside of the court or field. I've had the ability to get into different activities and organizations, and I've recreated my identity for myself aside from just being an athlete.
Getting to be involved in a lot of different things, ranging from obviously being a student athlete to getting involved with my campus and my community, and not only being allowed to do that, but being encouraged to do that.
The opportunity to be able to study what I wanted to and continue to play the sport I love, to have the professors know me on a personal level, all of those things came together very nicely in one package in Division III.
Being a part of the different activities and organizations that I've been a part of, I'm actually able to see myself where I'm like, hey, I actually can make a change. I'm one person that can make a difference. It really helps you develop thinking from other people's perspectives and looking at problems from outside the box.
Division III has helped me to develop teamwork skills, critical thinking skills, time management skills.
I've definitely learned how to really be myself. I found out, yes, I am actually a good leader, and yes, I can actually put myself forward because I am good enough. I can do it.
Coming in to college, I just wanted to get good grades and to do well, but it also made me realize that I have a lot of different career goals, and I've learned so much about myself that I was always like growing and changing.
When I got to college, it forced me to step up and become more of a leader, and I think that was something I had the capability of doing, and forever grateful that being at a Division III school gave me that opportunity.
You have to dedicate your time in the classroom, you have to dedicate your time in the gym, on the field, on the court.
Our coaches and the entirety of the athletic department, they valued the student athlete going out into community and trying something new and getting involved in campus life.
You can get involved in so many different things, so the possibilities are truly limitless for what you can do with your college experience. You can kind of make it your own in the Division III setting, so I would encourage people who want to have flexibility to pursue different interests and passions to go D3.
Passion's love. Passion is love for what you do. Because I think when you face challenges, it comes down to how much you want it and how much you love it. Passion is what keeps you going forward. Seeing so many people that were like-minded and so hardworking in their sport and academics, being surrounded by like-minded people makes you want to be more passionate. I think it pushes you to a different level that maybe you didn't think you had, and you can do the best of both worlds and love all of it.
Halftime inside King Arena on the campus of Wheaton College in Wheaton, Illinois. I'm Tim Calderwood. Nate Frank is alongside as well. 40-36, Wheaton in front. Wheaton 9 first half three-pointers, 9 out of 16, 56% from beyond the arc, 50% from the floor overall. St. Norbert 13 of 23, 56%. Nate, before the contest, we were thinking this might be a little kind of slow, grinded-out game, and it's been anything but so far.
Nothing like prognosticating. It's usually the quickest way to make sure the opposite of what you're prognosticating occurs. This has been a great game. I mean, I think both teams, for the most part, have been able to do what they've wanted to do offensively. And part of that may be both teams have had a little bit of foul trouble. In the case of St. Norbert, quite a bit of foul trouble, so they haven't been able to be as aggressive defensively. It's also been a half of runs. Wheaton went on a 12-point run to take a commanding lead midway through the first half, and no sooner had they established that lead, and Norbert came back and went on a 15-0 run. So I would expect the defense to tighten up. I do though think both coaches are going to have to be very careful with players in foul trouble. For St. Norbert, Harrington and Pan both have 3. Sock, Scott, and Askew all have 2 for the Thunder, so they've got a little more wiggle room, but foul trouble could be a story here in the second half.
So for St. Norbert defensively, you look at Wheaton making 14 field goals, 9 of them being three-pointers. Do you feel good if you're St. Norbert, knowing that they made 9 in the first half? Because you got to figure that, you can't stay too hot from three-point range at 56%.
Yeah, I actually do. I think if you told St. Norbert that more than 50% of Wheaton shots were going to come from well beyond the arc, they'd be pretty happy with that. Now, that said, probably half of those 9 makes or more were really good looks that Wheaton got out of their offense that frankly are tough to miss. I would say Wheaton's 7 misses were more in that period during the St. Norbert run where Wheaton lost patience and lost the discipline to run their motion.
Got a little bit of a delay to start the second half. It allows me an opportunity to tell you that Evan Glazer leads St. Norbert with 8, Aiden Harrington, Michael Payant with 7 apiece, Carter Gebler with 6. Tyson Cruikshank paces Wheaton with 11, TJ Askew 10. 18 points in the paint for St. Norbert in the first half. So that's an area that Wheaton's going to try to look to collapse down and give a little bit more help defense and force St. Norbert to take some more perimeter looks.
Yeah, let's see what we get in terms of maybe a little more digging from the perimeter. Not going to happen there, however, as Glazer converts the easy hook.
Inside right away as Glazer hits double figures with 10. It's an 11th consecutive game with double digits for Glazer.
And that's going to be a tricky matchup. I think Norbert's going to want to try to exploit that. Askew with 2 fouls can't get too aggressive denying the entry. And once Glazer gets it down there, he's going to be tough to stop.
Askew tries the baseline, heaves it up high for Chiavello to Sock for 3. And Sock with the 10th Wheaton three-pointer. For Nate Sock, it is his 3rd.
Sock's perfect tonight. He's 3 for 3 from downtown. That's the only attempts he's had. And it's been good because he's gotten every one of those in rhythm and out of the offense.
Season high 9 points for Nate Sock, who had scored in just 7 games going into last night's contest. Nikolai, the long 3, follows the shot as it's off target. Gresh swats it out.
Nikolai didn't like that shot.
Mike Shower's hands are in the air. He's upset on the rebound, looking for foul.
Yeah, I don't know, but there it is. That matchup is going to be a problem.
Glazer again, 43-40, 18:31 to go.
If I'm the Thunder and they continue to do that, I might look to move Schiavello over there and see if he could be a little more aggressive in denying the entry pass, because when Glazer catches it down there, he's been unstoppable.
Cruikshank moving right into the corner. Back out it comes, shot clock at 5. Sock drives all the way to the hole, nobody stepped in.
No, and there you go. I mean, it's a little bit of both of these teams knowing they can't afford to pick one up early. So far, everything near the basket has been relatively uncontested on both ends, and that is the foul trouble coming into play.
Going inside to Jamison Nikolai.
Oh,
Askew.
Yeah.
Is it Cruikshank or Askew who will pick up the foul?
Looks like it's going to be on Cruikshank, and that's a good break for the Thunder.
TJ Askew had 2 fouls.
Yeah, they can ill afford to lose Askew. He's been high energy on both ends of the floor. He's been smart about not picking up one in the early going, but he got up in the air, and I think if Cruikshank hadn't picked up the foul first, that one was going to be on Askew.
St. Norbert is 8 of 14 from the free throw line. Nikolai now just 2 out of 5. As he exhales and sizes up attempt number 2. And no.
Yeah, he's a 64% foul shooter on the year, and that's one of those guys, if you make your first couple, you get off to a good start, and when you don't, it can get ugly.
Askew is open, in and out. Cruikshank, though, with just a second Wheaton offensive rebound, and then he tossed it away.
Cruikshank did a good job of not forcing the action, kicked it out. Good look for Askew. Then Cruikshank, he does a really nice job for a guard when he's down in the paint. He gets his hands on a lot of offensive rebounds, just a little quick on that pass out to Scott, or they would have had a good chance for a second chance point.
Glazer working on Askew, the hook falls.
They're going to have to do something different here. They are committed to going to Glazer each and every time they bring the ball into their offensive front court. Whether it's double teaming, which the Thunder historically don't like to do, or simply switching that matchup, or possibly fronting, they're going to need a little bit different recipe on Glazer.
Askew to the hole, scores.
Well, that was neat. Just kind of snuck that one up there.
The grad transfer with a big bucket. 3 minutes into the second, 47-42, Wheaton by 5. Glazer spinning as he works on Askew, spins again, falls to the hardwood, and it's a travel. And he's trying to say he was fouled.
Boy, I don't think so at all. And I'll tell you right now, you don't want to upstage an official like that, where you're shaking the ball and you're screaming, especially a guy that can ill afford to pick up an additional foul.
He is still letting the officials hear it. He has talked to each of the 3 officials on the floor about that call.
Yeah, I mean, I think if anything, the only thing Askew did was sort of pull the chair out from under him. On that spin move, Glazer was leaning into him. Askew did a good job of creating space, and I think when Glazer spun back, he was looking for contact to kind of support him. It wasn't there, and he just fell down and rolled over.
Cruikshank. Back out to Askew.
Good non-shot there. Early in the shot clock, they can get something better.
Cruikshank down the left side of the lane, threw it away.
And that's 2 turnovers for him in the paint here early on. Very unusual for him, very uncharacteristic. One of the things I've loved about Cruikshank, and I said it last night, he is great at playing at pace, but playing under control. And that time he's got a little bit out ahead of himself.
.16-10 to play. Gresh lobbing in for Glazer. No good. He was bothered by Askew, but he has the offensive rebound, and he's undressed by Scott. Scott the pilfer ahead to Schiavello.
Nice. Schiavello having a Schiavello game. He's 4 of 5, 1 of 1 from three-point range. He's got 9 points. He's got 3 assists. Just classic Schiavello basketball. now that he's not playing harnessed by fouls like he was last night.
The second team all CCIW choice, and Garrett Gresh with an answer.
Gresh has been quiet, but he's their best three-point shooter at 48% on the year. Surprising they haven't been able to get him going, and they may look to do so now that he's hit.
Part of that's been because they've been trying to get the ball inside consistently. How about the extra pass? Chiavello from on point buries it.
Oh, he's playing good. He's showed up today. Only played about 17 minutes because of foul trouble last night. He's chomping at the bit.
52-45, 15:05 remaining. Aiden Harrington and a whistle underneath.
That's going to be on Sock. He was jamming things up, and I think that'll take us to a timeout.
It is on Sock, and we do have a timeout with 15:02 to play. Third foul on Sock, 52-45, Wheaton on top. This is the 2023 NCAA.
I believe sportsmanship is it's a mutual admiration and respect for your fellow competitors. We all go through a lot to reach the point where we compete against one another. It's important to realize that. So once we're finally on the field or on the court or on the starting block, we look at each other as fellow human beings and not just competitors. Being able to recognize the hard work that other athletes are putting in creates a more positive and inclusive environment.
Passion's love. Passion is love for what you do. Because I think when you face challenges, it comes down to how much you want it and how much you love it. Passion is what keeps you going forward. Seeing so many people that were like-minded and so hardworking in their sport and academics, being surrounded by like-minded people makes you want to be more passionate. I think it pushes you to a different level that maybe you didn't think you had. And you can do the best of both worlds and love all of it.
15:02 remaining in the second round of the 2023 NCAA Division III Men's Basketball Championship Tournament. The winner of this game will meet a team that was ranked #1 nearly the entire year. St. Joseph of Connecticut, 75-54 win over Williams in the second round today. Christopher Newport is also in that quad, and they are up 48-36 over 20th ranked Hampton-Sydney on the road.
That's just too easy. Real simple set that brought Harrington off a back screen, found himself wide open under the basket. Good job by Coach Gress drawing up something simple and effective coming out of that media timeout.
I was going to say, you think that was drawn up during the stoppage or what?
Wheaton's got to continue to commit to running offense. They've done a good job through the first 5 minutes. On the other end, look for St. Norbert maybe to exploit the fact that Wheaton's now really trying to take away the post, see if they can get some of their three-point shooters going or
Shot
go
clock
somewhere
ticking
the Glazer.
Down. Top of the key, the three-pointer. Did it hit anything?
Oh, I thought it caught a piece. I thought it caught a piece.
Mike Shower saying it glanced the rim as well.
Let's get another look at that. I think that caught just the slightest piece of orange paint on the front of the rim. Tough to tell from that angle.
Evan Payant accelerates against Chiavello underneath the bucket. He'll try the hook shot, no.
Good job by Askew, aggressive on the glass.
Crookshank out to Askew. A little bit out of control. Schneiders bails him out.
We got a little bit of a one-on-one matchup. I don't think Askew was real happy with the buckets he gave Glazer early on. And he's looking aggressively to score as well.
Crookshank with the contested three, rims to the left.
That one's quick.
Harrington all by himself, corner right. 52-47, Wheaton by 5. Gresh for 3. Off to the left. Rebound loose. Askew able to corral it.
Good team rebounding there by the Thunder.
Wins the battle against Jamison Nikolai. Askew for 3. No. Now they're kind of settling for three-pointers.
They've done it twice in a row. And again, you can't say that's a bad shot. His feet are set, it's open, but you're 5 seconds into the shot clock. Run your offense, put pressure on a defense that can't commit fouls, and you're going to be in a lot better shape.
Down low, Williams on the takeaway. The entry towards Glazer. Williams all the way is denied by Gresh, who got a piece of the body as well.
That's a good foul by Gresh. He's one that's not in foul trouble. No reason to give Williams what was going to be a pretty good look at the layup there.
Coming right at you.
Really nice crossover move there. Williams is one of those guys, he doesn't look particularly quick. He doesn't look overly athletic, but he's got all these quick little moves. His footwork is great, and he never, like a lot of the Thunder, never's operating out of control.
Andrew Williams hits the first free throw. He is an 82% shooter this year. Averaged almost 2 points more per game in conference play than his season total.
That's always a sign of a gamer, I think. You play in the conference where defenses are tougher. It's harder to win. It's harder to score. And guys whose numbers go up in the CCIW like to play in big games. Andrew Williams is definitely one of those guys.
7-point lead, 54-47, as Williams connects on both free throws. 30 minutes off the bench yesterday. Again, he was moved out of the starting lineup to a reserve role to try to provide some more spark and some offense off the bench. And he helps on the miss, comes up with a rebound off Gresh's attempt.
Yeah, he's a super six man. He can give you scoring, he gives you tremendous energy, he gives you rebounding. Really a versatile guy off the bench.
I don't know what in the world happened defensively there, but Gebler forgot all about Cruikshank, who just smoked him to the basket.
Tough guy to forget about. But indeed, they lost track of him, and that was about as easy a bucket as Cruikshank's going to have all night.
9-point lead. Gresh high into the left, leaves it into the corner. Payant zings it over to Harrington for three. Nope.
It's interesting, you're seeing St. Norbert having shot as many threes now in the early going as they did all of the first half. A little bit of that is Wheaton now trying to take away the post aggressively. A little bit of that, though, may be fatigue as Cruikshank steps back. And as Buddy Holly and Jerry Garcia said, you don't want to fade away. That's a not fade away situation. Better to get that going towards the hole.
Gresh outside the lane, hits the 8-footer.
Nice little step back by Gresh. Interesting, he was not at all involved in the first half. One shot attempt, shot a couple of foul shots. He's been much more active and a very good effect here for the Green Knights.
Chiavello waiting. Hands it off to Williams. Shot clock at 10. Williams working on Harrington. Denied initially, spins out of control, and a travel.
Yeah, he needed to give that one up. Once his first foray of penetration was denied, he needed to kick that cross court and let the offense reset.
11:10 to play, 11:09 to be exact, 56-49, Wheaton in front. We've got a timeout on the floor, and we step aside as well. Here locked into the 2023 NCAA Division III Men's Basketball Championship Tournament.
I believe sportsmanship is it's a mutual admiration and respect for your fellow competitors. We all go through a lot to reach the point where we compete against one another. It's important to realize that. So once we're finally on the field or on the court or on the starting block, we look at each other as fellow human beings and not just competitors. Being able to recognize the hard work that other athletes are putting in creates a more positive and inclusive environment.
Passion's love. Passion is love for what you do. Because I think when you face challenges, it comes down to how much you want it and how much you love it. Passion is what keeps you going forward. Seeing so many people that were like-minded and so hardworking in their sport and academics, being surrounded by like-minded people makes you want to be more passionate. I think it pushes you to a different level that maybe you didn't think you had. And you can do the best of both worlds and love all of it.
We've had a couple of moderate second-round surprises in the landscape of the D3 Hoops tournament. Nichols knocked off Middlebury on the road 73-66. Wisconsin Whitewater, a true road win over Case Western, who was ranked in the top 10, 78-75. Stockton survived a test against Mary Washington. North Park, by the way, is down by a dozen at Wash U, 49-37. Still a lot of time to go in that one, however.
Yeah, it was 16 minutes when I last checked it. Oh, and that's going to be Askew's third. Not all that detrimental as we're approaching the halfway point of the second half, but a foul he just didn't need to commit. He was beaten, and there was not much he was going to do to stop that.
Gresh with a bounce pass into Glazer, who has been the man for St. Norbert here in the second half.
Yeah, and that's a situation as well where Cruikshank was a little bit late in helping. Not sure we were going to do much to stop Glazer on that one regardless, but little bit of breakdown for the Wheaton defense.
16 points for Glazer. He's 2 of 4 at the line as he tries to complete the old-fashioned three-point play. Nope. Wow.
I mean, it's a little bit Illinois College layups last night. I mean, the number of misses here from a team that shoots above 70% from the foul line on the season, very atypical for them.
8 of 16. Looking in for Scott. Harrington got in front.
While I don't love that pass, it was a little bit crowded. I do like the fact that Wheaton's trying to get more things out of their motion cuts. That would have been a better one to pass on, but I like the idea.
Ball over the head of Crookshank as he works it in to Askew. Near corner, the handoff to Crookshank. Curls right, pulls up, and splashes in the 18-footer.
Good look there by Crookshank. And Wheaton's kind of settled in to being up 5 to 7 points. Still very much in striking distance are the Green Knights.
Backdoor cutter for Harrington, and Askew got his hands on it. It's kind of similar to last night, right, where Wheaton and Illinois College, Wheaton had that kind of distance throughout the game but was never really able to put that one away.
Yeah, that one kind of settled into a 12 to 15 point margin. At one point, after the halfway point of the second half, Illinois College got it down to single digits, then Wheaton opened it up. Let's see what St. Norbert as they go back into their moneymaker. Glazer with a little more help this time. He shuffled his foot, got away with it, came up short.
Wow.
And he is battling. What an effort he's had this second half.
On Sock this time with Askew having 3 fouls.
Yeah, that would have been a highly traumatic 4th foul.
Glazer, a junior from Appleton, Wisconsin. Perfect on this free throw. Matched his season high with 18 points in the Northern Athletics Collegiate Conference Tournament semifinal win at home over Marion. St. Norbert was the 2 seed in that conference tournament. They had to go to top-seeded Wisconsin Lutheran to win the AQ, so they're familiar playing in a big game in a hostile setting. Scott for 3,
yep. Short.
Offensive rebound, Chiavello.
Chiavello just continues to be doing the right things at the right time for the Thunder.
Some good patience here by Wheaton as the shot clock ticks down to 10. We're past the midpoint of the second. Crookshank on his way to the rack.
Boy, second wide open path to the basket he's had. Mike Shower's going to take time. He's going to take a 30. This is what Mike likes to do. And frankly, his predecessor, Bill Harris, liked to do the same thing, taking a timeout after a score, reset the defense, talk about the importance of what's to come.
Crookshank with 17, Askew, Chiavello 12 each, Sock with 11 for Wheaton as they open a 60 to 52 advantage. On the flip side, it has been the Evan Glazer show in the second half, 17 for him, 9 for Harrington, 9 for Gresh. And you know, Payant was playing with 3 fouls, and he seems to be very hesitant right now for St. Norbert.
Yeah, it's one of the real challenges of early foul trouble, right? Not only do you have you get into this mindset of I can't be too aggressive, but you just also get out of the flow of things. At this point, 9:42 left. He has 3 fouls. You might as well leave it all on the court, right? You pick up a 4th here in the next few minutes. You might have to sit out 2-3 minutes, and then you're going to be in for the stretch run. So now it's time, quite frankly, for a guy like Payant to let it all hang out.
Tournament rules mean that the first time out of the second half extends to a full, which is why this is a little bit longer if you're curious.
You know, if you're St. Norbert, it's interesting. You've had so much success going into Glazer, but you also start to take the rest of the team out of the flow. I mean, a great back-to-the-basket post-up is excellent, but I think if I'm Coach Gresh, I'm telling Pat, listen, you've got a lot of guys now paying attention. Find Gresh, find some of these other guys. Let's see if we can get the rest of the team involved and get some open looks out of what you've already established here in the paint this half.
2 very good defensive teams. Wheaton allows opponents to shoot just 41%, ditto for St. Norbert, but both teams are over 50% tonight. 60 to 52, Wheaton by 8, 9:35 to go. Glazer again, this time he runs into Braun. Kicks to Gresh, he'll move. Gresh rotating left, clears out. Still plenty of time here, shot clock half gone. Gresh hesitates, Looks for guess who? It's Glazer. Here comes the help defense. 3 bodies. What are they going to call?
Oh, they call a block. I'm not sure. Let's have another look at that. It may be that the contact happened down inside of the semicircle. That's all they could call. But this looked like a charge to me. He may just have been too far in the circle, and indeed he was. Nonetheless, though, yeah, I don't know the exact rule on that, whether because there's contact in the circle you have to call it a block. That looked like a better no call than anything else. I do like what Coach Schauer has done here, bringing in Connor Braun to defend against Glazer and moving Askew onto Gresh. I think that's important. It's going to be a lot harder for Askew to pick up a foul guarding the perimeter dwelling Gresh.
Fresh 20. Gresh in friendly territory. Picks up his dribble. Shot clock down to 10. It's Payant for 3 from the right edge. High off the window. 9 minutes to play. Cruikshank drives.
That's only the second foul of the half against St. Norbert.
It's like Jamison Nikolai, his first.
And that's again why Wheaton has had just so many good opportunities. They've scored 20 points in the first 11 minutes. The St. Norbert defense has been less than aggressive. They're going to need to pick it up now through the final 9 if they're going to claw back into this.
15 to work with. Scott to the left. Spinning, clearing out. Chiavello for 3 with a hand in his face.
Once again, a lot of green on the offensive glass. Very little there from the Thunder.
Gebler up high. Patiently waits. Looking in for Glazer against Braun and a foul.
Take another look at that one. Wheaton's getting dangerously close to putting St. Norbert in the bonus for the rest of the way. I don't hate that foul on the floor. It takes Glazer a little bit out of his rhythm, but Wheaton does not want to put St. Norbert, despite St. Norbert's free throw shooting woes, in the bonus too early in this, so it's a great way for them to claw back in.
Gebler looking to inbound, has to hurry. Glazer at the elbow. Starts to move, dumps to Gresh, corner for 3, long.
Oh, good job there by Chiavello. Williams got a piece of it, and it looked like Payant. But again, Payant just a little less than aggressive, or he would have had that offensive rebound.
Braun handing it off to Scott. Help defense comes. Askew takes to the hole, off the glass, no. Williams there, shot clock did not reset. Scott open for 3, nope. Braun an offensive rebound.
Big. Wheaton been quiet on the boards all night. Let's see if it pays off. And it's gonna, because they're gonna keep the ball on the St. Norbert foul.
It's gonna be a 3rd offensive rebound for Wheaton. They'll have a 4th opportunity coming after a timeout. Get a good look on the 3 from Williams right at you. And you can see the push on Askew.
Great camera work.
It's our stationary camera. It's doing a great job of staying in one place. 7:37 to play, 60-52, Wheaton on top. This is the 2023 NCAA Division III Men's Basketball Championship Tournament.
I believe sportsmanship is a mutual admiration and respect for your fellow competitors. We all go through a lot to reach the point where we compete against one another. It's important to realize that. So once we're finally on the field or on the court or on the starting block, we look at each other as fellow human beings and not just competitors. Being able to recognize the hard work that other athletes are putting in creates a more positive and inclusive environment.
Passion's love. Passion is love for what you do. Because I think when you face challenges, it comes down to how much you want it and how much you love it. Passion is what keeps you going forward. Seeing so many people that were like-minded and so hardworking in their sport and academics, being surrounded by like-minded people makes you want to be more passionate. I think it pushes you to a different level that maybe you didn't think you had. And you can do the best of both worlds and love all of it.
After being out-rebounded by 9 yesterday against Illinois College, Wheaton has done a really good job here in the second half. They are +4 on the glass, and they're about to have a 4th opportunity out of this timeout. I'm Tim Calder with Nate Frank alongside. 60-52, Wheaton on top. Williams looks into the corner, and Payant got his hand. Oh, no, Payant did not get his hands on it.
They're going to talk it over.
Payant was pleading his case right in front of us.
We're going to get a good look here. Maybe not. We're not going to get a look. Okay.
Nope.
Tough break there. It did look, for me, at first glance, like it had ricocheted twice, once off Payant and once off Cruikshank, but he was quite convicted that it had.
Big trip for St. Norbert. Jamison Nikolai backing up against Williams. Trying to bounce it along the baseline. Tapped around. Brant Wilson did his best, but it's a turnover. Williams high above his head. Down a sock with under 7 minutes remaining. Cruikshank steps in. Long range 2, no good.
Too much coming off the dribble now for the Thunder.
The Wheaton's cooled off. Their shooting percentage down under 47% now after being in the mid-50s for much of this game. It's Glazer working on Sock. Askew in to help.
Good show by Askew with the quick recover.
Nikolai dribbles to his left and misses to the left.
Like to see the Thunder push. They've not really gotten out on the break very much. A lot of that's because they haven't had many long rebounds. That would have been a good opportunity to get out on the break and get an easy one. Yep. And they're going to get Askew for his 4th on the little bit of the moving screen / on rolling, stepping out. I think it was the right call. Let's see what we got here. So with 6:18, Askew's going to go to the bench. It's probably very similar to a hockey penalty. He'll probably spend 2 minutes in the box and come back in for the last 4.
I was going to say, I would imagine when you get to the media timeout at the under 4, you'll probably see him come back in. Payant outside the lane and it knocked away. Wide open is Harrington. At the left turn, he buries the 3.
That was a big one.
Just the 4th 3 for St. Norbert in the game. It brings the visitors within 5 with under 6 minutes to go.
That was a big one. It was a quality look, and after a bunch of misses from the arc, they needed it. And now we got ourselves a 2-possession ballgame.
Cruikshank meets Payant. Free throw line extended, looks for the cutting Williams. Payant down defensively. It's knocked away by Harrington. Payant had to be careful with 3 fouls there.
Payant was a little sheepish, but Harrington, after hitting the 3, comes back down, makes a big defensive play, and Norbert has a chance to cut this to a 1-possession ballgame.
Mike Schauer is pacing the sidelines frantically. Harrington is held up. It's a jump ball, and the arrow is with Wheaton.
Really good defensive effort there. Maintained space, got up, contested the shot. Cruikshank, sneaky good defender. He gets credit for a lot of his offensive skill sets, but a very solid defender in his own right.
Williams looking for Braun, hands it off to Sock instead. Motion left.
Good patience here. Need to continue to get to the rim for a good one. Oh, and it's going to be
huge.
LeBron. That was a good offensive set. A lot of ball movement. Tested a few gaps with the dribble, and ultimately it turned into a really good cut and find and finish for Braun.
Payant backing his way in. Over the top of Chiavello, it falls in. We're trading baskets here with 4:35 to play. Cruikshank, right side of the lane, and the racket in.
He's so good at finding seams and finishing in traffic. That was a big bucket.
22 yesterday, 19 tonight. Back to a 7-point advantage, 64-57, 4:15 remaining. Gebler underneath to Glazer. And Glazer will make his way to the free throw line. Braun pleading his case underneath the basket.
Braun not arguing whether he committed the foul or not, but saying that he was definitely still in the middle of his fake when I got him, that should be a bonus situation and not a two-shot foul situation, but he's going to go to the line, and he'll get both foul shots.
That was the take by Cruikshank moments ago. That is the 8th foul on Wheaton. St. Norbert has committed only 3. TJ Askew is at the table ready to check in with 4:11 left. Evan Glazer from the free throw line, 3 of 7 today. He owns 18 points.
Hard to believe his season high is 18. I mean, this is a guy who has been scoring at will down low. He's also a guy who's averaged 11 points per game, which means he's just a very consistent, steady performer. And he's trying to take this Green Knight team on his back this second half.
He now has a season high. The St. Norbert fans rise to their feet inside King Arena. 4 minutes left.
Keep an eye on that Wheaton bench.
Cruikshank works on Payette, steps back, crosses left, step back again from 18, perfect. That was pretty.
That's why he's your Fred Young CCIW Player of the Year. No situation too big, poised, and knows how to hit a big shot in a big moment. That was a big one.
Payette is open at the right turn, off to the right. Offensive rebound for Harrington. Strong to the basket, offensive foul.
Good job. That's another good job. We talked about Cruikshank a couple minutes ago. Gave up the offensive rebound, but stayed in it defensively. And you'll see him making good space. I'm not sure I like that call either way, but nonetheless.
Passion's love. Passion is love for what you do. Because I think when you face challenges, it comes down to how much you want it and how much you love it. Passion is what keeps you going forward. Seeing so many people that were like-minded and so hardworking in their sport and academics, being surrounded by like-minded people makes you want to be more passionate. I think it pushes you to a different level that maybe you didn't think you had. And you can do the best of both worlds and love all of it.
I just wanted to get good grades and to do well. But it also made me realize that I have a lot of career goals.
You're there to get a full college experience, not only participate in your sport, but participate in things outside of that. And it's all about growing as a person.
My coaches have helped me with figuring out who I really am. Their lives are dedicated for us to succeed.
I believe sportsmanship is it's a mutual admiration and respect for your fellow competitors. We all go through a lot to reach the point where we compete against one another. It's important to realize that. So once we're finally on the field or on the court or on the starting block, we look at each other as fellow human beings and not just competitors. Being able to recognize the hard work that other athletes are putting in creates a more positive and inclusive environment.
3.5 left. Wheaton by 7. They've led throughout, but similar to last night, the opponent just hanging around. Can Wheaton find a way to put them away? Chiavello to Askew with 4 fouls to the right side. Cruikshank fakes to his left, moves right. Shot clock is inside of 10.
Good patient possession here for the Thunder. They're
Askew for 3,
one.
Short. Offensive rebound underneath Williams, no. The 10 won't go either from Chiavello.
That would have been big after running the shot clock down deep to get a couple extra chances at it. They could have converted. That would have been a real setback for the Green Knights.
Under 3 minutes. Looking in for Glazer. With a crowd around him, he couldn't finish. It's tapped out of there by Gresh, but he swats it to Askew.
Thunder continuing to not surrender many second chance points this half. Really good job at team rebounding. Now they're going to be patient. You're not necessarily in delay mode, but you don't want to rush a shot. Now the key is get a good one that you can make after you've run 30 seconds here off the shot clock. And they're gonna.
Into the corner it goes. Chiavello tries the baseline. He finds the cutting ball. No!
Oh, I thought
what an offensive rebound!
What a great tap out by Williams. Just sniffing around that basket. Thought Braun might try to flush that. Held up and missed it. But Williams, as he's done so many times, gets a piece of it. And the Thunder are going to be able to take this one under 2 minutes.
Shot clock at 5. Cruikshank is fouled.
Boy, just a devastating last 40 seconds of this ball game for the Knights. They did a good job of holding the Thunder forcing a pretty tough shot. And then surrendered rebounds, couple extra chances. Ball goes back out. And the Cruikshank fouled on the 3. If he converts these 3, it's going to be a tough task for the Knights.
I got to ask this question. Tyson Cruikshank was limited by North Park to 1 point in 30 minutes. How?
I did that game, and I sat there, and to their credit, to both teams' credit, actually, North Park had the game plan of we are not going to give him anything. And Cruikshank became a distributor, and he became a distraction, and the rest of the team took over. It was impressive game planning, and it was impressive response. It's what we've talked about with this guy all year long. He's aggressive, he's got a nose for the basket, but he doesn't try to force the action. That's what's made him a special player.
I bring that up because that's the only time this year he has failed to reach double figures. He owns 23, and Wheaton is in front by 9. Gebler leaning left.
Norbert needs to get something quickly, but they can't be sloppy about it.
Glazer against Braun with a hook. Turnaround won't go. They were dropping early. They aren't right now, but Jamison Nikolai will give him a second chance, and he threw it away. Well, he ran into Braun down low.
Yeah, now I think if you're St. Norbert, you got to look to foul. You've got a minimum of a 3-possession game, and that's in the most optimistic of circumstances. I would have come out and fouled. What they definitely can't do is surrender a bucket here. This one's on ice.
Shot clock under 10. St. Norbert, not only that, but they've got a foul to give. Three-pointer partially blocked. Williams has it denied. It's coming at us.
That's
Look
going
out.
to be a shot clock violation before he saves it. Neither of Wheaton's attempts touch the brim. So it pays off, and now we're going to get a St. Norbert timeout.
It seemed like they let a lot of time tick off on that possession.
Yeah, and there's two schools of thought on this, Tim. You've got coaches that say, hey, we've got over a minute left. It's a 3-possession game. Let's get a good stop. My school of thought, especially with the little dicey foul shooting that we've seen for both teams over the recent weeks, you want to create as many possessions as you can. So put a press on, put a trap on, and if they get through that, I like sending them to the line. Coach Gresh, who has, well, an infinite amount more wins than I have as a college head coach, chose to do something different. We'll see if it pays dividends. At least they got Wheaton to miss, and now they're going to have to get a quick 3 to get this thing cut down to a manageable number.
St. Joseph awaits the winner next weekend. (68-59) Wheaton with the advantage. The other teams in that bracket, Christopher Newport has been taking on Hampton-Sydney on the road, and they are up by 12 late in the second half. Meanwhile, the Texas bracket, at halftime, Mary Hardin-Baylor up by a point over East Texas Baptist. So those would be the other teams in that pot of 4 for next weekend, the round of 16.
I'll tell you what, there's some good Division III basketball played in the state of Virginia. I mean, I think Randolph-Macon is probably your odds-on favorite to win the national title again. You've got Christopher Newport, who is one of the best teams in the country, and Hampton-Sydney right there as well. We talk about the CCIW being one of the best basketball conferences, but that ODAC, pretty darn tough as well.
Gebler all the way to the rack.
They needed a quick one. Wheaton didn't need to commit a foul, but they certainly didn't want to allow a bucket in less than 7 seconds.
They're going to go to the scorer's table to get together and talk about how much time should be on the clock. Randolph-Macon a 63-41 win at home. Yesterday, they broke North Park's Division III record for consecutive home victories, and they added another one today. And they'll probably have, you would think, 2 more at home next weekend once the committees get together tomorrow and figure out who's playing where.
Yeah, they're a juggernaut of a team. It's going to take a good team to knock them off. But there's definitely 5 or 6 teams in this pool that have the opportunity to do so. So they put another second back on the clock, which seems about right. That bucket happened real quickly. It was inbounded with 1:05. They said about 5 seconds went off. And now we're going to get Norbert fouling. It's going to come down to whether Wheaton can convert foul shots. Although they're not yet in the bonus, it's going to take one more shot to do that.
That's the 4th on Payance, and he's going to go to the bench offense-defense here. Vito Lagoya takes his slot. And Gebler will put Cruikshank at the line.
Cruikshank, not necessarily the guy you want to put on the line, although he did miss an attempt just moments ago. He's a 73% foul shooter. For an offensive player of his caliber, you'd probably expect him to be more in the high 80s. I'm not going to call it a chink in the armor, but I'd say it's one of the weaker parts of his very, very well-rounded, very strong game.
Mike Schauer, the CCIW Coach of the Year, is in his 14th season at Wheaton. Tyson Cruikshank at the free throw line is the 6th Fred Young Award winner under his guidance.
We got a little cat and mouse as Chiavello wanted to be the one to box out the larger Michael Payant, simply because they don't want Askew picking up a foul.
Not only that, but Payant has 4 for St. Norbert.
Yeah, not sure why that was so important, but I like a little mind game here late in the ball game.
Cruikshank is 3 of 4 at the line. 24 points, 5 rebounds, 3 assists for him.
Just another day at the office for Tyson.
70-61.
Now Wheaton doesn't want to foul. They don't want to give up the 3, but they also don't want to give up a quick one. Real important that they play some defense.
Oh, there is a foul.
Cruikshank's going to pick up that foul. It's going to be Gresh, I think.
That's his 4th on Cruikshank.
That's going to be Harrington, excuse me. Going to the line, he'll shoot 1-1. This will be the last 1-1. Norbert will be in the double bonus next time they go to the line.
11 of 20 at the line today for St. Norbert.
And that's going to look like one that got away. Imagine if they shoot a typical 75%. That's 4 more points, and this is a 2-possession game.
Harrington's first visit to the line. Poured in a season-high 27 at Benedictine back on January 7th. As the 68% foul shooter who made a pair of starts last year splashes in his first attempt.
Another local-ish kid, Arlington Heights St. Viator, sophomore. He's going to give him a couple more good years here. He's an impressive player.
You know, they're not out of this by any stretch of imagination, down 7, but this is a St. Norbert team that's not going anywhere. In fact, they're going to lose Payant, but everybody else on that roster is coming back next year.
No, and in all honesty, they played a good chunk of this game without Payant due to foul trouble, and they were very competitive against a high-quality Wheaton team. This ballgame's not over by any stretch of the imagination, but if Williams can put a couple in here, we start to think about nails in the coffin.
LaGoya's first foul, still just 1-1. Andrew Williams will have a go. He's 2 of 2 from the line today. And Wheaton, who had some trouble from the free throw line yesterday, is 9 of 12 from there today.
Williams is the best foul shooter in the Wheaton rotation. I mentioned earlier, you like sending a coach's kid to the foul line when Gresh was shooting. You also like sending an Indiana native. It's either in the water and or their DNA, but they're mostly pretty good foul shooters.
72-63. Gebler picks it up. Twisting, turning. Gresh long 3 off balance, hits it.
Big one. That was a big one. And I'll tell you, I think they've had a good game plan, St. Norbert has. One of the things I would have liked to have seen them do more, especially as they needed to play catch up a little bit in the second half, is go inside out and try to get Gresh a couple more looks. He's got a nice touch, and at 6'5", doesn't have much trouble getting it off against almost any defender.
His second 3, Gresh with 12, 1 of 3 in double figures for St. Norbert. As strong as Evan Glazer was to start the second half, he's kind of disappeared as Wheaton's defense has found him and collapsed, making things difficult on him in the post.
Yeah. Early in the early part of the second half, Wheaton pretty much said, we're going to play our normal defense, which means Askew, you're on an island. You're trying to dump it in. As soon as Askew got into that foul trouble where he picked up his 3rd foul, they started digging down. They started showing from the weak side. And I think another issue that St. Norbert had was Glazer was a little too single-minded on scoring. If he would have played a little more inside out, could have turned into some better chances. I think he also wore out being the workhorse.
Williams trapped, calls the timeout.
It's a pretty good trap and smart timeout. Yeah, you're going to see them trap, and then generally the rule of thumb is if Wheaton breaks out of the trap, as soon as they do, they want to send somebody to the foul line. They did not, though, want to send Williams because of what we talked about earlier, being an 82% foul shooter.
So honestly, this is almost the opposite of what happened yesterday when Carleton was trailing the entire game and kept sending St. Norbert to the free throw line late. St. Norbert kept either missing both or splitting, and that allowed Carleton to slowly get back into the game. They were down 4 with about 15 seconds left and could get no closer yesterday.
Yeah, now this is very much a reversal of fortune for St. Norbert. Odds are they're not going to be able to do this just on fouling and missing. Wheaton's too good a foul shooting team for that to happen. They're going to need to create a turnover of some sort here relatively quickly.
Glazer with the foul.
So it'll be Askew going to the line, still just in the regular bonus. He'll shoot 1 and 1. 73% foul shooter. Been a huge addition to the Wheaton team. A little quieter tonight than he was last night, but still just effective in every phase of the game. They call on him to play defense. They call on him to be a penetrator and distributor. They call him in big situations. That one comes up, though, in and out. And Norbert's got a chance to cut it to a possession.
Kepler from the top of the key. Whoa. 30 seconds left, and we've got a 3-point game.
Well, and Mike looked over at Wheaton and just kind of shrugged as they came off the floor. A situation like that, the only thing that's really going to hurt you is the 3. Askew did not do a good job of hedging that screen. Andrew Williams got absolutely obliterated by it, wasn't able to stay with Gebler, and Gebler had a completely uncontested look from the top of the key. You just can't allow that kind of a situation to occur with one of the better St. Norbert 3-point shooters. Tough defensive break there for the Thunder. Or I should say tough defensive breakdown for the Thunder.
6th 3-pointer for St. Norbert in the game. There's a lot of time left.
Yeah, now it's anybody's ball game. Obviously, Wheaton's still in the driver's seat, but coming off of that situation with the Askew miss, the defensive miscue, they've got to be just a little bit tighter. Important they get the ball inbounds into one of their good foul shooters' hands and convert. It's going to be Askew going back to the line on the heels of that miss of the front end of the 1 and 1.
2 free throws now for Askew, double bonus the rest of the way, 4th foul on Glazer. You were talking about Askew, and I wanted to bring this up because you said, he hasn't had as much of an impact tonight as he did yesterday. He does have 9 rebounds, though, so he's finding ways to still be involved even though he's not necessarily scoring.
Yeah, no, there's no question about it, and what you get from him every night is energy. I had a chance, I mentioned this on the broadcast last night, to talk to his dad. Just been thrilled with having TJ here, and TJ's fit in so quickly as a grad transfer. That's not easy to do. You're coming onto a team, you're taking away playing time that was earmarked for somebody in the program, and so you better bring it night in and night out. You better be a positive force in that locker room. He's done exactly that, and he's been a massive, massive contributor to Wheaton's significant success this season, and hopefully continuing to contribute to what hopes to be a deeper and deeper run into this tournament.
Averaged just under 15 points per game at Claremont Mudscripts last year. First team all CCIW selection for the grad transfer. And it's no good.
First one was big, though. It makes it a 2-possession game. Still would have been nice to have that bonus foul shot.
Gebler all the way to the hole, and he's fouled with 20.7.
And that's going to be on Askew, I believe. Maybe a Sock. Let's see.
Sock.
It's Sock. Okay.
That's the 4th on Sock.
Well, in the event that this game does somehow make it into bonus coverage, extra time, we're going to see guys dropping like flies from foul trouble.
Free throw is good for Gebler. Just under 70% on the season from there. Gebler has been quiet in this game. He has found a way to reach double figures, though. But he had posted 20-plus in 4 in a row, and he hits them both.
He had the game's first bucket, went dormant, and he's now coming up big here in the waning seconds.
And the foul as well by Gebler.
Cruikshank loves this. He gets fouled. He kind of looks up, almost rolled his eyes like, all right, that's what you want. I'll go here and bury 2. And 2 foul shots here would go a long way to icing it, but he needs both of them, or Norbert will come down with a chance to tie. or potentially take the lead.
17 games with 20 or more points for Cruikshank, 25. He's 4 of 5 at the line, and the first falls.
Nice little kiss off the front rim. If you're gonna come up short, that's exactly the way to do it. Got a couple of substitutions. Schneiders comes in to make sure that Sock doesn't commit his 5th foul. Also looking a little bit, I would imagine, for free throw shooting.
Only one in the lane here for Wheaton as the free throw is no good. Gresh the rebound. We're down to the final 15 seconds.
I got to push it quickly.
It's a 3-point game for the tie. Gebler short. Long rebound. Harrington kept it alive. Nikolai has it. Now it's Payant for the tie. That's short. And we've got a foul on the rebound with 2.7.
Wow. Gebler looked a little hesitant on that first shot, but Payant had a good look. Both came up short. You wonder if that's a little bit of Payant just not having found rhythm in this second half, because he got a reasonably good look for a chance to tie.
2 attempts to tie for St. Norbert. And now the Wheaton faithful sensing a date next weekend with St. Joseph's of Connecticut.
One of these two will put it away. He misses the front end.
Wow.
And this could stay interesting. The last time these two teams met, it was a 59-58 Wheaton victory. This is a little bit more of a scoring bonanza, and very close. That one, barring a Wheaton miscue and a foul, should do it.
75-71, survive in advance. That's all you've got to do this time of year. St. Norbert sure made it interesting, and a tip of the cap to Gary Gresh's squad out of the Northern Athletics Collegiate Conference. They gave Wheaton everything they could handle tonight.
They sure did, and that's just a fun playoff basketball game. Two teams playing to their strengths, different guys stepping up, much better defended here in the second half. Nerves factored in, I think, to foul shooting on both ends, but Wheaton played the better game and prevailed. But you're right, well-played game by both teams, and St. Norbert certainly comported themselves very, very well tonight.
A top 10 matchup in store next weekend as Wheaton takes on St. Joseph. St. Norbert falling 75-71, a couple of very eventful contests here. And Wheaton is on to the round of 16. Mike Schauer pumping his fist, clapping his hands, and showing his appreciation to the Wheaton fans after what was a very, very hard-fought victory.
Yeah, I think he really appreciates it. There was a student section, either local students.
He's telling them 2 more.
Or they stuck around. You know, Mike has he's probably got a little bit of insight into where the seedings might land this next round, given his position on the national committee. You would think this is a game that either gets played in Connecticut or Virginia, but given the ease of travel to Chicago, maybe we're back here for 2 more next weekend.
We'll know tomorrow, but what we do know is Wheaton is into the round of 16 with a 75-71 win over St. Norbert. Appreciate you being with us for the first 2 rounds of the NCAA Division III Men's Basketball Championship Tournament. Visit the Wheaton Athletics website to find out where the Thunder are going next. They know they'll be facing St. Joseph's, the program that was built by the legendary Jim Calhoun after a 75-71 victory tonight. Nate, that was fun, my friend. Appreciate your help the last couple of nights.
Tim, good to be with you. Hope we'll see you again soon.
For our entire
Responsibility is being accountable for your words and actions, first and foremost. It also is an obligation to be a positive influence in the communities around you. Being in a D3 program, you're going to have lots of different opportunities. You're not just an athlete, you're also involved in student life. Your academics are extremely important. We give a lot of our student athletes responsibilities right from the start by giving them leadership opportunities, by having them engage in the community, be a positive influence. That's being a responsible person.